I'm going to bust wide open the myth about what you actually need for your knee replacement. Because after 2 knee replacements and a hip replacement, I'd argue that some of the things that they tell you need and are essential are completely optional. And some of the most important things that you need can't be bought at all. So here's how this is going to break down. I'm going to give you 5 things that I think are actually essential. I'm going to tell you about some things that I was actually prescribed and I never used. And we're going to talk about some of those things that always seem to make the knee replacement recovery list, but aren't exactly essential. But most importantly, I'm going to give you a way that you can look at all of this and you can decide what you need for your recovery instead of just following what they say you need. So let's get right into this. The first thing I think you actually need, you can't buy on Amazon. Everyone needs a good doctor. And my doctor was Dr. Mullen. And let me tell you what made him a good doctor. First of all, he had credentials. He was in the top 50 docs in my state, and he ranked in the top 250 docs in the United States. So he had credentials. He had been working for 20 years already as an orthosurgeon before I found him. And the one thing that he did have was a great bedside manner, because you need a doctor that you feel good about it. So oftentimes I hear people talk about how they didn't meet their surgeon until surgery day. And I'm so glad I didn't make that choice, because I got the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with him. Look, at 45 years old, I couldn't get anyone to do that knee replacement. It was bone on bone for 2 years. And he sat across from me and he listened to every story that I told him about why I thought I was a good candidate for him to do my knee replacement. He heard me out. I got to tell him what I could do, what I couldn't do, what I wish I could do. So somebody that you have a rapport with, someone you trust, and more importantly, someone you can communicate with, because that person is the one in charge of your actual surgery. It's kind of important. They're going to do the procedure and they're going to get you through to the other side of recovery. Now, don't get me wrong. If you see a physician's assistant before surgery, that's totally fine. I did too. But I didn't first meet my doctor in the operating room. I met him and had a conversation with him before my first knee replacement. This person that you pick to be your doctor is also going to help you make decisions about what everybody else is telling you that you need. That's why I put your doctor first, because I wasn't worried about the ice machine and all the things. I was worried that I got the doctor that could actually help me heal on the other side. So who are you trusting with your knee? And this is most important, because your doctor is going to help you determine whether some of those things that everybody says you need are what you actually need. The second thing that I think is essential when preparing for your knee replacement is something to help you walk after. But what that something is, that's individual and that's up to your doctor, which is why I said that doctor is really important. For example, I had a walker that took me through those first few weeks of my recovery, and then I bought a cane. Those were suggestions from my doctor. The cane wasn't necessarily needed immediately after surgery, but when I started moving from the walker to the cane, it really was. But here's the other thing is there are people that use crutches post-op. I've seen crutches used quite a bit from people outside of the United States, and I don't know enough of it to tell you that it's actually an international thing. Maybe if you're international, you can chime in about that. And there are also people that walked out of surgery not needing any assistance. So I'm going to put up here a very elementary drawing that I did of this procedure, and it's a bell graph. And you have your early people on the graph. Those are the people that don't need any assistance and just sail through this recovery. Then you have your people in the middle. Those are people like me. Those are on average people that have a recovery and go through different stages of recovery. And then you have the people at the end. Those are the people that are still going through recovery or still having issues after their recovery for different various reasons. I wanted to give you this visual representation because we are all different in our recoveries. So I can't tell you that you're not going to need a walker. I'm going to tell you, err on the side of caution because you probably do. You need assistive devices after your surgery, period. But you need to find out what you need. And you know how you're going to do that? That doctor that I talked about right before this. They've seen a whole lot of knee replacement recoveries, and they are best to guide you through. The essential thing, number 3, is ice. You need a way to ice after your knee replacement because icing is something that you're definitely going to want to do. But what this doesn't mean is that you automatically need an ice machine. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one because there are people that swear by ice machines and cooling machines, and I didn't use one. This seems to be one of those never-ending debates. People that have them absolutely swear by them, but other people don't use them. I didn't. I recovered without one, and let me tell you why. Because you know that doctor I just talked about? He actually told me that he didn't see how it was necessary. He said, get a couple gel ice packs, which is what I did. He said, put one on the top, one on the bottom, you're good. But your doctor might tell you that you absolutely need an ice machine. They may not. I have no idea what your doctor is going to recommend. And that's the point. We're separating this can be useful from every knee replacement patient absolutely needs this. Those are two completely different things. And I probably need to see this before we go any further. I'm just me. I'm not your doctor. And I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't use for your knee replacement. I'm telling you my story, my experience, and my perspective in my own recovery. And I'm so excited that you want to hear because I think hearing other people's experiences can help us ask better questions and figure out what makes sense for us. But your medical decisions, those belong between you and your medical team. And I really need to say that before I get to this next part, because there were things that I was prescribed that I didn't really use. For example, a DVT machine. DVT stands for deep vein thrombosis. This is the thing that actually helps circulate the bottom half of your leg and keeps the blood flowing. I wasn't prescribed, but I see a lot of people prescribed a CPM machine. This is a continuous passive motion machine. This keeps your knee moving back and forth. It was also suggested to me to wear compression socks, and that's kind of the same thing as that DVT machine, helps circulation. So let's talk about that CPM machine first, because my doctor, his philosophy was very different. He wanted my leg use the strength of my muscles to move my knee. He was adamant about me getting my knee mechanics down rather than having a machine move it for me. And that made sense for my particular recovery. But here's what I don't want you hearing. Suzie didn't use it, so neither should I. No, that's not what I'm saying. Your muscles and the state of your muscles might be completely different than mine going into surgery. The condition of your leg might be different. The condition of your deterioration could be different. Your surgeon may have a very specific reason why he wants you to use one. I don't know your medical situation, but your doctor does. It goes back to number 1, right? Now, the DVT and the compression hose, I didn't wear and I didn't use because I was up a lot. I was up at least every hour walking around, doing a little pace through my house. And that's why I'm telling you my experience rather than giving you a hard and fast rule. Number 4 essential is your physical therapist. This was a big one for me because I learned it the hard way. For knee number 1, I had a really good physical therapist. I had a great experience. He was very knowledgeable. He explained things to me. And because that experience was so good for my first knee replacement, I just assumed they were all like that. And boy, was I wrong. For knee number 2, that assumption bit me in the butt. That's why I would love for you to start thinking about this before your surgery. Go in and go shopping for your physical therapist. Things that I learned mattered are they hands-on with you? How much time do they spend with you? How do they work with their knee replacement patients? Do you relate to them? Do you trust them? Do you feel good working with them? Because guess what? This is your complete triad. It's you, your doctor, and your physical therapist. That's what makes up your knee replacement medical team. And you get to choose that team. This experience is actually why I created the Knee Replacement Hub, because there's an entire section on physical therapists and vetting your physical therapist. I didn't understand how important that was until I went through it. And number 5, essential, that's the one that's different than anything else. Because you can't buy it. You need to know where you're going. And when I say that, I mean, what does life look like a year after your knee replacement? What are you doing? That's what I did. I had a vision for what I was going to be doing after my first knee replacement. And that vision kept me going. I knew that I was going to wear 3.5-inch heels for all 10 hours of my wedding day. I picked what that day was going to look like. I picked what I was going to wear. I picked what I wanted it to look like. I picked what I wanted to be doing. But what's waiting for you on the other side? That's where your mindset becomes this preparation. Because you're preparing more than your house. You're preparing yourself. And if you know where you're going, you can start making decisions based on that instead of just running around collecting checklists and everything somebody else put on a knee replacement recovery list. Think about going all in on yourself. How do you prepare your body? What are you doing to support your body? Maybe start thinking about how food and hydration is going to help you. You really need to determine what matters to you and the things that make you feel grounded and feel like you. Once you got those things, let's talk about the stuff people tell you to buy. And this is where I want to separate need from might be really nice to have. Let's talk about a wedge pillow. I didn't need one. I just stacked up some pillows, like 3 of them, and threw my leg on top of those. It worked for me. Could you love a wedge pillow? Absolutely. Do I think everyone that's having a knee replacement needs to buy one? Nope. What about a grabber? I didn't use one. I got a kitchen tongs from the Dollar Tree store. That's what worked for me. A toilet riser. I didn't use one, but that was based on me, my body, my legs, my situation. Somebody else might absolutely need one. Ice machine. That's the thing we talked about. I iced. I didn't use a machine. Useful and essential are not the same. So if I'm telling you not to take my list and make it your list, how the heck are you supposed to figure out what you actually need? Give yourself time. I want you to think about your list. This is the piece that most people skip. Instead of getting your surgery date and running to Amazon to order everything that everybody else tells you to buy, sit down and think about you. What's important to you? For me, I wanted certain things around me. I wanted my journal. I wanted my Bible. I wanted my water. I wanted my earbuds. I wanted my iPad. And I wanted them close to me. So I knew that I was going to need a bag to start carrying that stuff around from room to room, wherever I decided to land. That's not going to show up on a standard knee replacement recovery list. But it mattered to me. Think about your body. Is it important to you to support your body as naturally as possible while it heals, to help it heal? Then maybe what deserves attention isn't another gadget. It's how are you going to support your body with protein choices? How are you going to get more water? How are you going to fuel your body after surgery? This is the whole point. Don't take somebody else's list and make it your own. Take the list and use it to get your juices flowing to start thinking about your recovery. Then ask, does this matter to me? Will I actually use this? Does this fit my recovery? Did my medical team recommend it? That's a big one. And what am I trying to accomplish? Then start checking things off. You don't need to rush and you don't need to feel scattered. And you certainly don't need to prepare exactly like someone else did. And if you're thinking, okay, Suzie, but where do I start? I recommend grabbing my free ebook. There's a checklist inside of it. It gives you things that I looked at while I was preparing. And remember, don't take my checklist and just assume you need it all. Use it as a jumping off point for yourself. Let's get you thinking about what your recovery is going to need and what it's going to look like. You can grab the free ebook in the link below. And if you want to see the difference in my preparation between knee number 1 and knee number 2, watch the next video because the biggest changes I made had almost nothing to do with what I bought. I'm Suzie Andrade. I help you make sense of knee replacement recovery with simple, practical steps so you can recover with calm confidence, feeling empowered through your recovery.